What's good? It's your boy 2K here. Shout out to the movement and everybody who's moving with us. Also, happy Thanksgiving to those of you who participate in celebrating this particular holiday. Me personally, I do not. There's a lot of bad history dealing with the slaughtering of melanated people on this particular day. You know, sometimes I feel like I should create a separate channel where I talk about a lot of historical issues as well as things that are happening in the world today, political, governmental, social, economic, you know what I'm saying? If I'm not watching boxing, I don't watch TV. I do a lot of research, you know, so I got a whole lot of shit in my archives that I could talk about. If I'm not playing ball, if I'm not watching boxing, if I'm not in the weight room, and if I'm not furthering my career as an engineer, I do research, you know what I'm saying? But maybe that's a whole nother time, you know, I could get up, you know, create another channel and start talking about real shit. Maybe I'll think about that. Let's talk about some news. Shout out to my man C-Bone over at Three Kings Boxing. He put out an article talking about this Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder situation. Now, it's out there that Eddie Hearn feels that Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua will not be made in 2018. Apparently, Eddie Hearn couldn't get into an agreement with Deontay Wilder representatives Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman. Apparently, the shit is being held off for possibly 2019. And Eddie Hearn has now directed his attention towards Joseph Parker. Now, this is my thing. When people were talking about this fight was in negotiations and cats were happy and, you know, celebrating, oh, we're going to get it in 2018. You had a lot of cats telling other cats that they need to calm down and chill and shit and not put too much stock into the idea that the fight might not happen in 2018. I kept silent, as I always do. I wait till everything's done, then I talk about shit. In my opinion, I always felt that that fight would not be made in 2018. Now, of course, anything could happen. You know, maybe the Joseph Parker negotiations fall by the wayside now, and maybe, you know, Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman can get into a better negotiating situation with Eddie Hearn, right? And we could have the fight sometime next year. But as it stands today, what I thought initially was correct. And a lot of that comes from the fact that Eddie Hearn has been trying to get Joseph Parker since before Joseph Parker was champion. You feel me? They were trying to get him before he fought fucking Carlos Takam and Demetrico. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to get him before that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that that was always the priority for Eddie Hearn when dealing with Anthony Joshua's next fight. Now, Anthony Joshua did say, hey, I want all the fucking titles. Give me all the titles in 2018. But Eddie Hearn is a businessman. He's going to go for the easier title, as he should, right? I believe Deontay Wilder is a bigger threat to Anthony Joshua than garbage-ass, fat-ass Joseph Parker, who probably should be thanking his fucking lucky stars that he's even a champion anyway, because he arguably lost to Andy Ruiz. Hell, the motherfucker arguably lost to Carlos Takam. You know what I'm saying? Joseph Parker clearly looks like the weakest champion in the division. He actually looks like he's a B-level fighter. He looks like cats like Bryant Jennings, Daniel DeBose, you know what I'm saying, Shannon Briggs. They might fuck around and beat Joseph Parker. That's how he looks. I know for a fact Luis Ortiz sleeps this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that's obviously the route that Eddie Hearn should be taking, especially if he's been talking about him for some years now, for at least a year now anyway, right? So I'm not surprised about that. And apparently the manager for Joseph Parker is stating that in the past, Eddie Hearn was given the negotiation requirement, so to speak, right, that he give them a 65-35 split. Of course, Joshua getting 65, Parker getting 35. Eddie Hearn laughed at that shit, you know what I'm saying? But now he's stating that Eddie Hearn is actually thinking about giving in to that particular requirement in the negotiations. He's saying that he's actually okay with it now. You know what I'm saying? And really, apparently to Joseph Parker's promoter or manager, that was the biggest thing that they really wanted in order to go forward with this fight. Now, they could be bullshitting. Who knows? We'll find out later. But anyway, this doesn't surprise me. What the surprise is that my man C-Bone talked about Eddie Hearn throwing Dillian Whyte's name out there again. Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? Dillian Whyte? A rematch? For what? The last time you beat him, you knocked him out in the 8th round and had the motherfucker's arm hanging out the ropes. You know what I'm saying? So what? Now you want to have both his arms hanging out the ropes? Man, get out of here with that bullshit, man. I'm not trying to see that fight again. There's no need to see that fight again. It was a good story. You got knocked out in the amateurs by Dillian Whyte. You came back as a professional and knocked him the fuck out after being rocked. Excellent story. The book is closed now. We don't need a sequel. You know what I'm saying? This is just like, you know, having a sequel to a movie that was clearly done the first time. You see what I'm saying? We don't need that shit. No need for a fucking Dillian Whyte rematch. And to be honest with you, let's say if Anthony Joshua beats Dillian Whyte again, it kind of kills the credibility that Eddie Hearn is trying to give, trying to put on Dillian Whyte for Deontay Wilder to fight him before fighting Anthony Joshua. Reason being, he's already beaten this motherfucker twice. You see what I'm saying? And I believe it would be another knockout. So you're telling me that you're trying to give him a guy that your main guy, who's one of the champions in the division, right? Your main guy, who the other champion is trying to fight, you're trying to give him a guy that your main guy already knocked out twice. I mean, it further kills that credibility you're trying to give Dillian Whyte. So, in my opinion, if Eddie Hearn is smart, he won't make that fight. He will not make a fucking Dillian Whyte rematch because you got two guys who you can actually put out there and say, hey, before you get to my top guy, you're going to have to fight my second tier guy. I see what you're doing. And I applaud your business, your business mentality in that situation. I don't like it. I don't think Deontay Wilder should have to go after Dillian Whyte. Well, at least previously. Now Dillian Whyte is considered one of Deontay Wilder's mandatory along with Dominic Breazeale, right? So you got both those guys who are considered Deontay Wilder's mandatories after their last wins. But, you know, previously I didn't think he needed to go through Dillian Whyte if he wants Anthony Joshua. But I applaud your business technique there. You know what I'm saying? You got a top guy in your stable who happens to be the top guy in the heavyweight division. And then you got a second tier guy who really ain't shit. But you can use his name as a gateway into getting to your top guy. I see that. You know what I'm saying? But if you feed him to your top guy again, well, then you just killed that credibility. He's no longer a gateway. He, at that point, is going to be like, why the fuck should I fight this nigga when he's already been knocked out twice? One knockout already stains him. You see what I'm saying? So there really is no reason to do that, man. Don't kill his credibility. Use him. Do what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that's not a fight that I really give a fuck about. Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, go ahead and make that fight. You know, I feel that this whole time, Eddie Hearn was really trying to calm the fans down because there was a huge beef all over social media, not just YouTube, all over social media between UK and American fans. And I'm not saying that Eddie Hearn was trying to calm that beef or nothing, but he was really trying to tell the American fans, hey, this fight is going to happen. It's going to happen in 2018 because the fighters want it. So it kind of got the Americans thinking, okay, shit, we don't have to argue that much anymore. He's trying to make the fight. And then, of course, it's another ploy where he could be like, well, you know, the negotiations didn't work out, so we can't have the fight. You know what I'm saying? They do this shit all the time. Promoters do this shit all the time. It's a diversion tactic. You know what I'm saying? It's a way to make you think that they are really interested in making a fight that you want. But then they come out with some bullshit and say, hey, this is why we couldn't make that fight. You know what I'm saying? And then the fans are at ease because they're like, well, at least you tried. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, he was never trying to get this fight made in 2018. And what happens in the negotiation table stays at the negotiation table. You know, there's some cats out here, man, who try to say, yeah, you know what I'm saying, I got inside information on negotiations. You know what I'm saying, niggas told me that this is what happened. You know what I'm saying, it's out there. Nigga, shut the fuck up, bro. It's not out there, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? I talk to fucking managers in the boxing game. And while they do disclose some information you can't really read in an article, what happens at the negotiation table ultimately stays at the negotiation table. You know what I'm saying? They might throw a little bit of shit out there, but you'll never get the full fucking story. And it's like I said, there's cats out there talking about they got the full story, they got the full scoop. Get the fuck out of here, man. I've been around boxing too long, man. You're not fooling me, and you're not fooling my subscribers. So, like I said, what happens at the negotiation table stays there. Shelly Finkel and Al Haymon are not going to come out and say, hey, he was just trying to create a diversion so the fight doesn't happen. Here's why. Here's the details to what happened between us and Eddie Hearn when we negotiated. That's not going to happen, people. You got to use your common sense. You know what I'm saying? You got to use your intuition. And in this situation, for me personally, it's common sense that Eddie Hearn wants this fight to be marinated, right? That word right there is a key word, marination. That's something Keith Thurman's trying to do, and I'm gonna get on his ass in the next couple of videos. But that keyword marination is something that fighters, promoters, managers, they're all trying to do now. You know what I'm saying? Something we didn't really see a lot of, and it all comes from the Floyd Mayweather era. You know what I'm saying? The Floyd Mayweather blueprint to success. It deals with marination. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the big key factors for why Floyd Mayweather was able to make a lot of money. That, and he was the ultimate villain. Everybody hated him so much that they paid the exorbitant amount of money to watch him lose, or to hopefully see him lose, right? But the marination thing was a key factor for why Floyd Mayweather was so successful. And so these fighters are now trying to copy that particular technique. And it's bullshit. They're doing it way too fucking much, to the point where there's fights where there's no need for marination. The shit should happen right now. And that's what Eddie Hearn is trying to do with this Wilder fight. And it's always been a situation, in my opinion, that he was trying to do. Before I close out, I'll leave y'all with this. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have already seen it, but Eddie Hearn was out in Brooklyn, and for the Daniel Jacobs, Louis Cuba Arias fight, right? He was out there in Brooklyn. And he was talking to an interviewer. I can't remember who the interviewer was, but shout out to whoever that was. And in the middle of talking to him, he's like, yo, nobody here knows Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? And he was getting bystanders off the street, and he'll walk up to him and be like, hey, do you know who Deontay Wilder is? And the bystander be like, wait, what? Who? Deon Wilder? Yeah, I don't know that guy. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers are saying that. I think he got like 2 or 3 people. And nobody knew who Deontay Wilder was. And then I believe one of those guys, Eddie Hearn, was like, yeah, the WBC heavyweight champion. I believe he said that. And the guy was like, no, I don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying? While I don't give a fuck about that, he kind of proved a point there, you know? And it looked bad. It did look bad. But me as a fan, I don't care about that. Make the fucking fight. We got a unification fight there. Make the fucking fight. But that proved to me. And he also said in the same breath that even though he just showed that nobody knows who Deontay Wilder was, like the most average person on the streets of New York didn't know who Deontay Wilder was, in the same interview he stated, but we're going to make the fight in 2018. It just told me right there, that was proof. That demonstration that he did, it was proof to me that he's trying to make this fight marinate. And he was trying to prove to the people who are watching this interview that there is a reason why Deontay Wilder needs to fight his second tier guy in Dillian Whyte, and why this fight needs to be marinated. So that even though he contradicted his demonstration by saying, but yeah, the fight's going to be made in 2018, mate. You know what I'm saying? Even though he contradicted that with that statement, he still, you know, between the lines was trying to prove to you cats that he's trying to marinate this fight. And that's what he's doing, man. It is what it is. YouTube, do what you do in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Do you want to see Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte again? This is real talk for real fans. 1.